Hello, welcome pen friends. It's time for a progress report on how my pens and inks for June 2023 have been working out for me. And I thought I'd share that with you and just kind of flip through the ink journal with what I've done in here. And then we'll talk about it. I'll go to the library and we'll talk about it some more. I ended up putting everything in this Rickshaw Sinclair R, and it has worked out really well. They all fit in. I put in an extra 2-pen koozie and just put the pens around, and they kind of have their assigned places. So that's worked out real good. And I did add 2 more pens with black ink, and we'll talk about that when we get to those pages in the ink journal. So okay, so let's just get started. I've covered the report card just for now, and we'll come back to that. And let's see. I didn't write on the back of here because I was afraid of messing up this page, I guess. So I started right here with the, hadn't really thought about having these pens out ready, but with the Custom Junior George Antique Silver with the Amethyst Kirinite. This was a pen made by pen friend Mike Shin, and it's been wonderful. It's got a broad JoWo nib on it, and let's see, the material is acrylic Kirinite. I wonder if I'm saying that right. Anyway, this is just fantastic. It's a little bit heavy, but it measures out at, well, I don't post it, so we'll just count the weight of the body, 26.9 grams. But that hasn't been a problem. It's, you know, it's weightier with the cap on it, and I don't ever post it. You can definitely post it, but I don't, because I'm not a poster very often, unless it's a small pocket pen. So it's been wonderful, and it's worked out so good with this Amethyst, Amazing Amethyst ink. This is a long-time favorite ink of mine, so, and it just has been so lovely. Let's see, I think I think a little bit on the grip I just have to adjust to it when I start writing. And then I move around a little and I find a spot that's just right. It's not really slippery. It's a metal section that's a little bit thinner. But I've adjusted to it, and I really don't notice it when I'm writing letters. That's usually my first, if there was any problem, I'd notice it writing letters. So I have not. I didn't do all of the, chromatography tests, because I've done these so many times, most of these inks, so I just did the ones I really wanted to see. But I still left a place for them, so it's going to look a little silly. Okay, so then next up was the Benu Talisman in Mandrake, and oh yeah, this has so much shading, and I think it's really interesting that I can get by with 12 p.m. There goes the talking clock. With a teal ink or with a magenta or a purple, you know, it gives me quite a few options. So this also has a broad nib on it, and it's my only Benu pen. Yeah, so I was talking about graduation. I was able to virtually watch my nephew's graduation back in Vermont. So as it was happening, we got to see it. So that's one of those good takeaways from the past 3 years that wasn't so wonderful. We have things like that they didn't used to offer, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, this has been a real joy to write with. Then next up was the Twsbi Eco in the rose gold and black, and I think I don't like it, but it's very thick of a line width, and I think I'm kind of looking for a fine or an extra fine, so that's how it evolved, and that's how I ended up with the 2 Jinhaos inked up, but we'll talk about that. And also made a note, I don't own a Twsbi extra fine. I do have a Twsbi Go with a fine nib, so I could potentially swap some nibs around a little bit. I could if I needed to. But I'm just looking for more of a bullet journaling and Hobonichi nib, and it's suddenly I'm looking at fine and extra fine. Anyway, and I left room here. So this is where I brought this pen in. It's the little Jinhao 248 with an extra fine, it's just a stock Jinhao nib. And I put the same ink, the cross black. Well, I'm not keeping up with the ink tiles here. Anyway, we've already looked at these, but this is cross black in both of them. Down here, it's this one, and the main upper part, it's the TWSBI. So that did give me a finer width, and I'm really happy with that in the bullet journal and in the Hobonichi, actually. It's not bad. Although right now in the Hobonichi, I'm just using a Platinum Preppy. So it kind of, it was just sort of looking for how the cross ink did in a finer nib compared to the TWSBI medium nib. But it's, you know, no wonder I wasn't having what I wanted, because it is a medium. So it makes sense. I've got more things to look into on that subject, I'm sure. Then next is the other custom Junior George with the rhodium finish. And this one, this turned out to be like my favorite ink nib combination of the custom pens, because there's 3 of them that I've been using this month. And something about this Diamine Purple Dream, it just flows really, really well. And this is a medium, I think it's a JoWo nib. Yeah, it's a medium nib, and it just, wow, it's just fantastic. It's nice and dark and readable, of course, and then it just flows like a dream. So, yeah, it's really been fun. Great for letter writing, and I refilled it. So on the 10th of June, I refilled it. So I did get a little early start because I was just, you know, arriving home from vacation and didn't have any pens. So I probably have a 5-day start on June with these, 4 or 5 day. So, but I wrote it dry right away. So that also shows me that I was just really, really digging that pen and that nib and ink combination too. But they're lovely pens. They're just gorgeous, and they're, yeah, they kind of blow away the looks of almost all my other pens. So it's really fantastic and fun. So this is the 3rd of the custom pens. And this is we're calling it Mother of Pearl. It actually, I think the blank, he said, was from Alan Myers, and it's abalone resin. If I've got that right, I can sometimes mix things up. And it's a bullseye turning kit / Apollo, must be the name of it. So this has a medium Schmidt nib, and the ink that we are talking about here is Sailor Mano Ackaby, and this has just been wonderful too. Medium number 5 size Schmidt nib. Oh yeah, we've had heat advisories every day. It's just been hideous. Just, I don't really want to know what the heat index is, because it psychs me out every day. I have to go out so early to get anything done. Beautiful pens, very smooth writer. Yeah, and it's just gorgeous. It's got lots of interest in the finish and the color and everything, and mercy. Yeah, just notes about cocoa. So, and we'll go back to look at the grades in a minute here. Okay, then next up is the Faber-Castell Grip in Silver Glam is the name of the finish on it. Oops, oh, everything looks funny. I don't know why. Having a little trouble with my setup. Okay, and I started out with Van Diemen's Mandarin Duckwing in this, and then I had to look back on it because I wasn't really enjoying this nib ink combination. So I looked back, and sure enough, in February of 2023, this pen did great with a refilled cartridge with a private reserve ink. So there was no problem then, and I checked out the nib, and I looked at it real good to make sure there was nothing wrong with the nib. And then I determined there wasn't, and so I think it was a bad nib ink combination. So I went and I changed this over. I cleaned it out, and I put in Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo, and no more problems. In fact, I've written on even on CVS caliber paper with this great big long full page, which is, you know, processing journaling, so I'm not going to open that up, but that took care of it. So I'm happy because I'll be doing the pen report soon, and I I didn't want to judge it on an ink that isn't going well, because before this the ink went well, and now the Yamabudo is doing great in it. So, and this actually, this ink chromatography is for the Mandarin Duckwing, because I hadn't seen that chromatography yet, so I did do that one. I know it's confusing because here we are with the Yamabudo, but it's confusing kind of is the word for this month. I'm just trying to get in gear, and I'm still not there fully. So next is the Lamy All-Star in Vibrant Pink with Monteverde Garnet. It's a lovely ink. In fact, you could kind of see that it has, compares pretty well with Yamabudo, but it's not quite as bright. So actually, that was really funny and interesting how I ended up with this here to kind of compare it with, without really meaning to. But this has been great. It's a 1.1 stub on it, and it's almost too wet. So with the CVS caliber paper, it seems like it writes a more sharp line and is a calligraphy nib better on that paper than even on the Tomoe River, where it's coming out like a fire hose, and I guess you could probably see that. It might even be making the line width look a little wider. But it hasn't been unhappy, because I like that kind of writing. It flows along without any resistance, which I love. So, okay, and then I did the chromatography on Garnet, because I hadn't seen that yet either. And it's just pretty straightforward. Okay. And then next, the last of the 8 pens that I started with. I started with 8 and ended with 20, so that's probably understandable, I guess, is the Rotary Core Titanium. And it has an XL nib, which to me is barely a medium, but that's okay. It's been a lot of fun, and it works better on really good paper, like Tomoe River paper, Cosmo paper, but it doesn't do quite as well on CVS caliber, because it feels dry, and the flow just isn't quite enough. But other than that, oh, I was going on about computer problems. Yes, I had printer problems, and I still haven't solved them. Could be software. I'm looking at what I want to print, and it's all there, and it won't print. The barcode won't print. And anyway, I got customer service from USPS. It's a long story, but it was really frustrating. And he said that I probably didn't have the right something, like browser, and I said, but I'm looking at what I'm trying to print. So anyway, I lost $8, but anyway, that's, I mean, I'll just go to the post office, I guess, from now on, or get a new computer. Okay, moving on. So that was Konpeki, and I love it, but I would rather see this ink in like a wetter medium nib and above, like maybe a broad nib. So what I thought was, like, I'd probably rather see Diamine Oxblood or something even darker, because then when I go from cheap paper to paper, you know, the way I do, then I wouldn't notice it as much. I would probably still enjoy it better. Okay, so then that leads me to the final one that I actually just inked up to try, because yesterday a sample came in of Platinum Carbon Black from Penfriend, Maryland, and I decided to dedicate one of these little Jinhao 248s with an extra fine nib to this, and I just did this little experiment. So what I did was, yeah, so I tried the cross black here and this, and I tried this ink, and I just went over it with a really wet paintbrush, and it truly is like, this will be great for envelopes. I thought that I already had a sample in the past of this, but I couldn't find it, so it's like starting all over anyway, 6 years later, so I don't remember if I did, and if I tried things. I was brand new to the hobby and didn't, yeah, I don't remember. So this is really great. I will dedicate this for envelopes, and you know, I like the cross black for just jotting notes. I can make grocery lists with this pen and not worry. I could take it anywhere with me, but it isn't, this cross black ink just isn't waterproof or whatever. And the carbon black is wow, that's phenomenal. It barely lifted any of the I mean, you can see that, I'm sure. It kind of looks like you went over it with an eraser or something. Like a slight, just a slight movement of it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now for the report card. Let's go back here. And I don't know, the mood I've been in, maybe I might have been a little harsh on some of these pens. I hope not. But, okay, the first one, the Custom Junior George with the broad JoWo nib, I gave it an A. I think it would have got an A+, but, gee, I wonder why it didn't. That's really interesting, too, why I'm mentioning the grip here and not here. Because this one looks like, the one on this one looks like it would be slippery. It's very strange, because I don't know what I'm even thinking this month. I think that I just really like the darker ink better. Because look, that got an A+. Now that I really confuse things. It's a lovely ink and nib combination. It really is. It's a broad nib. It's beautiful. I reach for it for the letters and everything. Grip takes getting used to, but isn't that funny that I was overlooking that completely with this, probably because of that, the way the ink flows out of this nib. Huh. Okay, but I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Goodness. And then, of course, the Benu got an A+, because I just, even if I didn't write with it, I just was looking at it and admiring the finish. It's just crazy. I like the colors and the plastic, the whole 9 yards, the way it's built. But it also has a nice broad nib, and the Colorverse Gravity Wave is pretty too. And then, let's see, the TWsbi Eco got a B+. There's nothing wrong with this, but I don't want to see black ink in that wide of a line width. I just don't. Like, not even in a letter. Well, I don't like writing letters with black ink anyway. Okay, so the other Custom Junior George, we already kind of talked about, A+. Everything, like the look of the pen, the way the ink and the nib get along together and everything. So, and like I said, with these grips, I get used to it after a while. You know, it's not quite the same as a Lamy nib, a Lamy one where you've got a contour. So that may be, you know, most of the pens I write with have something to suggest the grip. So that could be something to do with it too. But it's been more than a month now. I've been writing with it and enjoying it. So, no, not quite a month. 3 weeks. Almost 4 weeks. Okay, so next up, the other custom pen got an A. It's a beautiful nib ink combination. The shading, it's lightweight and easy to write with. Again, it's a metal grip, but I don't seem to, I didn't even note it. So, could have been that this ink is drier, because that would make me notice flow. You know, lack of really quick flow would make me notice. But and it could be just the slightest bit, because I'm used to fire hoses. I think that's what it is, because I didn't even notice it with this one. So, okay, and then Faber-Castell grip. I gave it a B-, but now I could come back in and I could tell you it definitely gets an A with Yamabudo. It's wonderful, and it's not just a couple of sentences. I have been using it heavy because I'm preparing to do a report, and so it makes all the difference. Just an ink. That's why I'm thinking with this one, I'm going to try a different ink in this pen, because I really think that would make a huge difference. I'm not trying to say Diamine Amazing Amethyst is dry, but there was enough noticeability there that I'd like to try another ink. A pilot ink or something. In fact, I could try Murasaki Shikaboo in this one, and that would give me a really nice baseline. That's what I need to do. I need to be more scientific, but I haven't been this month. I've just been all over the place, so. And I don't even know where I am now. Okay, so it got a B- with the Van Diemen ink, and then it got an A with Yamabudo. So then the Lamy All-Star Vibrant Pink with the 1.1 stub, That got an A. It's too flowy for some papers, the better papers, like the coated papers, the Tomoe River and the Cosmo, and it's like, it just, yeah. But for your cheaper papers that still will hold it, like CVS Caliber, it's fantastic. And it does really well in my Leuchtturm with the 120 GSM paper. So that, it seems to like that. And this has been great. But I'm really glad to know that I like Yamabudo better, because there won't be any temptation to buy a bottle of Monteverde Garnet. Okay, so that's good news. And then with the Rotary core, I gave it a B. I said it was a nice, fun pen, not the greatest ink flow. Yeah, I mean, because I know this ink, and I know how it normally is, like how it is in the TWSBI Eco that I have in my rainbow outfit there. I've got a whole bunch more pens going in my rainbow kit here. Then I could tell the difference. And it's very subtle, but it's years of using these and knowing what to expect, I think, that does that. Okay, so I put question, oh, titanium, I think, because I found that in my notes. Titanium, something like that. We'll put SP question mark, so I'm not sure how to spell it. Okay, so that is it. That is the report card for so far for the mid-month report for June 2023. And now I'm going to just head right over to the library and talk to you through the camera. There, I'm over in the library now, and I just want to say that I think it's a good thing that I keep a journal, because I've been having a rough time this month, a really rough time. So I looked back on my journal for last year, right about the same time, you know, days and everything kind of compared, and the same thing was happening last year. So apparently I don't do summer very well. I don't do hot weather very well. And also I think last year, I know, you know, Willie was sick, so I had some anxiousness about Coco, and, you know, I just have to kind of give myself a break. But the heat it's come on like August already here in June, and I know all over the place there's either smoke, there's heat, everybody's dealing with something. And so really, thank goodness for the air conditioning and indoor activities, but I'm not an indoor kind of person, and I have to go out so early to do the yard work, you know, to get anything done, which I just don't like working in the morning because it's more humid. I like working in the evening, and in the evening there's another set of stuff to deal with, and it takes till after 7 for it to, you know, for the heat index to go down. So, okay, complaining over. I owe the complaint jar like, you know, $100, but so back to pens. I think I'm telling you this because I barely can even do this video, and it's silly. It's like, where am I? You know, where's my usual enthusiasm and my usual, like, I mean, I certainly have the interest, but I'm just all over the place trying to reorganize myself, I guess, in order to deal with summer. So that's where I'm at. And now I have 20 pens inked up because I did the rainbow video. You know, I did my 10 of my favorite colors and for the rainbow. And I just wanted to say about that, I am using them in my process journal. And so what I'm finding is they're all working out great. There's just one problem, and that is with the purple transparent. Every time I write with it, I get a little bit of purple. So I'm going to have to really look at this pen. I get a little purple on my, let's see if I can, I don't know if it'll happen right now. Yeah, just a little bit of purple every time. So there's some sort of excess ink, or heaven forbid, maybe a crack. I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate that. But all the other 9 are writing great. This one's writing great too, but kind of makes a mess. So I will be going to clean that one out and look at it really good. And that's pretty much it. You know, I'm writing, I was going to say I'm trying to write pen pal letters, but pen pal letters are going out. They're just very slow. And I apologize to anybody who's a pen pal right now, because it isn't, it's not the smooth delay that it usually is. It's a longer delay, it seems like. But I'll get there. I am getting there. I had a flare-up of mysterious pain, which I know what that's all about. I know when I get too tense and anxious, that happens. So I'm working with that too, and doing much better. I'm journaling a lot, because when I look back on my journals from last year, the only complaint I have is when I didn't write enough. And I'll wonder, like, gee, why couldn't I have said a little bit more about that? So if I'm going to make an error this year, it'll be in the other direction. I would much rather, you know, go ahead and be honest in that journal, and talk about what it is, and why I'm feeling that way, or, you know. Anyway, I'm missing parts, but it's nice to be able to look back on the year before and say, that's interesting that was happening. And I made a list of things, and it was a long list that was happening. So it could just be partially like time of year memory. Like, here we are in June again. It's blasted hot. And I had mentioned 100-degree days last June too. So it's not like a flashback, but like a little mini, like, oh, here we go again kind of thing. Oh my gosh. And really, I tolerate the heat a lot better than I used to when I was younger, and I don't tolerate the cold as well. So I don't know that there's a place in the world I can live and be happy every day. So with the weather, I mean. I hope that you all are doing better than I am, holding it together. And I'm just, you know, I'm very grateful for the pens, the notebooks, and even having letters to write. Like, I'm not letting it pressure me. I'm just realizing I get to write letters. Like, people still actually write to me, even though it takes me so long to write back and everything. In some cases, and in some cases, there's, you know, I don't know, there's something that's a dialogue that's ongoing that makes it easier, or something like that. So anyway, I will talk to you later. And I did feel good to, you know, press the record and show up here. And I hope that you all are doing great. I'm actually backed up even on watching my friends' videos. Lots of the people that I like to watch, I have been kind of mired in actual real life, I guess. You know, getting the lawnmower, which is now decided to start, you know, which is great, I guess, and getting that kind of thing done, and just trying to, like, stay cool and not have a bill that's catastrophic for the electricity for keeping the house cool. Okay. I hope I haven't, you know, like, crashed the complaint meter here. One of my goals is not to complain, and it seems like that's all I've done. But I think it was Mom that used to say, when you know you're feeling better when you start complaining. Because, like, you're much too humble to complain when you're not feeling, really not feeling well. So I guess that's an indicator or something. Okay, I'm going to have to watch this video because I have no idea if I can even release it. But I stayed under 30 minutes, and I think I pretty well showed you that having fun with the pens, writing with all of them, and it's going well. It is going well in spite of all the little weird things. So I'll see you on the next one, which should be the Faber-Castell Grip student pen report. And I have a lot of data now. I've got like 3 different inks and how it's behaved, how it's done with a cartridge and with a converter as well. And so there should be plenty to say about that pen. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.